So on the topic of relationships, as I said a few videos ago, I have been in a lot of them. And I've been in a lot of bad relationships. And I can tell you right now that most of my relationships, like 99% of them, basically ended in disaster, right? Basically ended with me being cheated on, or with me being with me being cheated on, with me being manipulated, with me being abused, with me being left to be homeless, i.e. my marriage. You know what I mean? So bad relationships are something I'm no stranger to. And you would think by this point I would just like adopt like 15 cats and become a hermit or something, which I'm very, very close to, but I kind of like getting my dick sucked too much. So I will probably continue to search out somebody within the next, 6 months or so. I just gotta, take a little time to myself. But that does not stop me from telling you all the stories of my shit relationships for your entertainment, and because stand-up comedy is my only source of therapy, because I live in America where healthcare is basically non-existent. In any case, the worst relationship I've ever been in was with a woman who is so psychotic that I refuse to ever go to the state of Florida in the off chance that I will run into her. And I'm not kidding. That's not for comedic effect. I'm genuinely terrified of this bitch. Okay? And this is also why I'll never date anyone from Florida ever again. So growing up, I wouldn't say growing up. When I was 18 or so, 18, 19, I was a janitor at a college. And I ended up becoming friends with somebody who was friends with another person who lived in Florida. Now, through this friend in Florida, this mutual friend of mine in Florida, I ended up meeting this woman, and we're just going to name her Betty for the sake of privacy. That wasn't her name, but her name was Betty, and Betty was fucking fine. Gorgeous, absolutely stunning. She had dark skin, like the kind of skin that glows in the sun, that really dark skin. Oh my God. She had long hair and just beautiful, beautiful eyes. And I thought to myself, there is no way I could ever get that. But that did not stop me from fantasizing a lot. Turns out, after a while of knowing me, Betty had a thing for me, and I couldn't tell you why. A lot of people look at me, they look at the fat, and they look at the bald, and they go, oh, dude, how could any woman ever want to fuck you? I'm guessing it's because I'm funny, because I make people giggle till they piss themselves, and apparently that can occasionally make women horny. In any case, she eventually got to telling me how she was attracted to me and she wanted to date me. Now, I, unfortunately, around the time she was telling me this, was moving to California for various reasons. My father, unfortunately, passed away, and before he died, he wanted to go and get to know his grandkids out in California from his previous marriage. So we were moving out to California. She was in Florida, but she wanted to move to California because she wanted to be a director. So I was like, hey, that sounds cool. I'll move to California. I'll get a job. I'll get started saving up money. I'll buy a house, and then you will have a place to live when you finish film school down in Florida. So she said, bet. So that was the plan. 3 months later, I'm working as a janitor in a grocery store. And I had just gotten the job, and I texted her the day that I got the offer. And she was like, cool. 3 o'clock in the morning, the day I'm supposed to start the new job, I get a text message, and it's from Betty. And Betty says, I have a friend who wants to have sex with me. No strings attached. What? She said, yeah, no strings attached. So him and I can fuck, but you and I can still be in a relationship. And I was like, no? And she goes, but I'm so lonely and I'm touch starved. And I'm like, what do you think I am? And she goes, well, you can fuck someone else too. First off, no, I can't. There's no way I can fuck someone else. I was like, you understand how long it took? I said, how long did it take you to fall in love with me? And she was like, I don't know, like 2 years. I was like, exactly. I have to work my haha magic for 2 years before anybody even becomes remotely interested in me. So I definitely can't. But nobody wanted to fuck me before you. No one wants to fuck me while I'm with you. So I said, no. She goes, I said, are you seriously asking me from my permission for you to cheat on me? Is that what you're asking me? And she goes, yes. And I said, no. So she goes, well, I'm not happy. So I want to fuck him. And I said, if you fuck him, we're breaking up. Well, we broke up. And she goes and she fucks him. Fine, whatever. 2 weeks later, she messages me. He cheated on me! What? And I messaged back, because I'm an idiot. I said, who? And she goes, the guy that I slept with. He said because you and I weren't dating, him and I were going to date, but then he went off and he cheated on me. And I was like, wow, you mean the guy who tried to get you to cheat on me ended up cheating on you? Fucking, oh my lord, somebody call Neil deGrasse Tyson. We have a cosmic discovery here. So of course I ended up cutting her out of my life completely. I said, there's no way, I won't do it. Fuck you, I'm done. Approximately a year later, I meet the girl, or the woman, who would become my ex-wife. We start dating. 6 months after we start dating, we get engaged. I announce my engagement on Facebook. Around that time, my ex-wife and I start getting random calls from a Florida number, and every time we would pick up the phone, if my ex-wife picked up the phone, she would hear, I'm gonna kill you, bitch. And if I picked up the phone, I would hear, leave that bitch, I need you. After multiple days of this happening, we discover that it's my ex-girlfriend who lives in Florida. So we had to get a restraining order across state line. Do you know how difficult it is to get a restraining order? Now I lived in Kansas. My ex-wife at the time when we were engaged lived in Missouri, and this bitch lived in Florida. So my ex-wife had to get a restraining order in Missouri to Florida. I had to get a restraining order in Kansas to Florida. And then when my ex-wife moved from Missouri to Florida, she had to get another restraining order. And I don't know if you know about restraining orders, but they don't fucking do shit. So for the first 6 months of our engagement, we had to block and completely put this woman out of our lives. I had to make Facebook posts. I had to completely and utterly do everything to completely get her out of our lives. And we did fine. Now, when we officially announced that we were married, which I will tell the story another day, but we didn't have a wedding. When we officially announced we were married, 3 days later, we get a package in the mail. And in the package are 2 sets of kitchen knives and a letter, a 13-page letter of this woman apologizing and asking to be unblocked.